When it comes to Emmett, all right, this is tough for me because I'm just going to be blunt. I know more than I'm going to share. I'm going to share what the source asked me to share. And I'm going to try to walk the line of sharing as much as I can while prioritizing, respecting what this source does and does not want me to share on Emmett's behalf. So the first thing they wanted to make incredibly clear is it's not about money. And I know you're going to like shake your heads and everything else. Per this conversation, I'm pretty good at reading people. I've lived all over the place. I know what it's like to grow up on the wrong side of a not so nice town. You don't know if you're going to get in a fight from day to day. I know what it's like to move into a middle class area and then fortunate enough to move up to the next type of area, which is pretty nice. I've seen all sorts of things and I'm pretty good at reading people. Nobody bats 1,000, but I could tell when they told me this was not about money, I believed them. Okay. Not as the major factor. That was reiterated several times. And at first, I was kind of like nodded. Okay. I believe them. All right. Not about money. Now, nobody's spoken directly to Emmett because that would be tampering. You can't do that until Monday. But he has an agent. And through the agent, there's been about 20, at least 20 was the words that were used, at least 20 teams that have reached out from multiple different conferences. There's a lot of interest that is there. So as you can imagine, whatever happens, he's got options. It was also told to me, Nebraska is not completely out of the equation. I will give you my personal opinion on how likely I think it is that he does or does not come back. It is my opinion because all that was told to me is it's not out of the equation. All right. Now, some of the factors as for going in. The relationship with the former OC was not great. There was frustration due to lack of playtime early on. It was mentioned in the Colorado game, either 0 or 1 carries, as an example, was slated to be the starter and all of a sudden changed before the start of the season, which I was not completely aware of, okay, before the season started. And then it changed. There was disrespect that was felt via playtime, via other things. Some of it, may have been relationship-wise, okay, with the former OC, even other individuals in that football building. Certain things that were perceived disrespect were seen and allowed to continue to happen. And that did not help the situation. Now, what should be clarified is I was told that he likes Dana a lot. He likes Dana Holgorsen a lot. And the reason Nebraska is still in the conversation is because of Dana Holgorsen. And the last 2 or 3 games, all of a sudden, he's getting the ball more. He's getting more opportunities. He shows what he can do. And that's directly related to Dana. Since he's entered the portal, all right, Dana is the only one, but he has reached out and tried to speak with him. I don't know if they've actually connected. That's something I don't actually know of. The feeling I got is they had connected, but with the words that were used was Dana is the one who has reached out. So if you listen to those words, it means nobody else has. All right. So that is what I understand. That is what I have been informed they're okay with relaying. Do I know more? Yes. Am I going to betray somebody's trust? No. That is priority 1, 2, and 3 to me. So to sum everything up, and as I'm talking, I'm going to make sure I didn't leave anything out, and then I'll give my opinion based on the conversation with this trusted source on what may or may not happen. All right. Not about money. And again, I shook my head on the phone. They couldn't see me. Obviously, we're on the phone. And I was like, okay, everybody's going to say that. I legit do not think it's about that. Are there opportunities out there? As I mentioned, 20 or more already have spoken with the agent. The transfer portal actually opens Monday, December 9th. Okay. And so there's options. Now, in the portal, he's going to go. It's not definitive whether he's going to come back to Nebraska or not. It is an option. The relationship with the former OC and some things that were allowed to happen was not great. The fact that they were allowed to continue to happen did not make what I am told per this trusted source Emmett feel very, very happy about certain things. There was a level of disrespect that was felt. Okay. And trying to make sure there's nothing I'm leaving out that I was asked to share with the fine folks at home. We're obviously staying in the lines that I've been asked to stay into. I think that about covers it all. Really likes Dana. Basically, Dana's the reason Nebraska's still an option. So here is my take on this. And if I'm being honest with you, I was tempted not to just not give my opinion on this because I don't know the Husker fans are going to like it. And I personally hope that I'm wrong. The feeling I get is Nebraska's an option. Dana's the reason. But I don't get the feeling, and it's the tone of voice that I heard on the phone from this source. It's the tone of voice. And I don't get the feeling that there's over a 50% chance he's coming back to Nebraska. I'll put it that way. It's on the table. I don't feel like the odds are in favor of it happening. I hope to God I'm wrong. I said, hey, can you tell Emmett for me? Okay. And I've interviewed Emmett in the past, and I've spoken with Emmett in the past. But, at times like this, players want their space, and he's going home, like I mentioned. So can you relay for me that I hope he comes back, but he's got to do what's best for him, and I respect that. So that is everything on that front. I don't think I've ever spoken that slowly on this show. I think that's what happens when you think before you speak, which I don't often do, right, Jake?
That's right.
You're not supposed to agree that quickly. All right. Now, the transfer portal as a whole. Okay. So when you look at, my goodness, the amount of players, let me see if I can find this. The amount of players that have gone in, and this was sent to me right before. So I've not been able to confirm these numbers, but there's expected to be roughly 20,000 football players throughout the entirety of this offseason. And it is a bit of a projection because it's the entirety of the offseason that are expected to go into the portal. Just think about that number. All right, Adam. Well, how many openings are there? That's the question. There's about 3,500 to 4,000. I think it's under 4,000 actual openings that are expected to be available, especially with the roster numbers going down to 105. And for those who asked me yesterday, I did a speaking gig up at Holy Ghost. It's the 50th anniversary of that going on up in Omaha. They've had, oh my gosh, legends from Bob Devaney to Osborne to Ron Brown to all sorts of people go up there and do it. And it's the first time I've ever been asked to do it. Had a blast, went way over time, but people seem to enjoy it. Okay. But I was asked, hey, so is it like, how's that scholarship work though? So you can still bring in 20 walk-ons. No, they have legislated out the walk-ons out of college football. It is 105 players, 105 scholarships, no walk-ons. The good news is more players will get scholarships. If we're being honest, you could have 85 scholarships and just give the other 20 guys NIL to offset it if you wanted to. So I don't know how much of a difference it is. Ultimately, less guys are going to get to play college football. And I absolutely hate the fact that the walk-on way of life programs for these colleges have been legislated out of college football. But the amount of players that are expected to go into the transfer portal is absolutely insane. And then another person sent me something, okay? 31,000 overall collegiate athletes are anticipated to go in. And this is the number I really want to verify. This person said 45% of them will find a home. Can you imagine how many that leaves out there? I was actually surprised that the number was 45%. I felt like that was high. I would have guessed 33% at the most, like 30, 40 at the most, 25. I wouldn't have been shocked. The amount of people that are in the portal, the reduced roster sizes, the fact that the grass isn't always greener. You go into this unknown space with high expectations, and some people are greeted with open arms, and some people are unfortunately left floating in that space out there. All right, so let's look at a couple of things here. All right. Well, first of all, Kentucky's top two wide receivers are in the portal. All right. Barry and Brown, Dane Key. Their tight end is in the portal as well. So we'll see. D Shorts. All right. Jordan Dingle's Kentucky's tight end from last year, starting tight end. So their top two wide receivers, their top tight end are in the portal. or going to be in the portal. I keep saying in the portal. They're going in the portal on December 9th. So let's see what happens. I can't help but wonder if a lot of the defensive players that we have entered the portal, I mean, Terrence Knight this morning tweeted out a whole Florida State thing. We knew it was coming. All right. And I wonder how many are going to go down there. And I wonder how many Kentucky players might end up here. I mean, this is the roster swapping that could potentially happen is just crazy. Now, portal entries by team, number, amount for the Big Ten. Purdue has 14, 111. That'll do it. Wisconsin 13, rough end of the season. Nebraska 11. All right, UCLA 7, Indiana, USC 6, Iowa, Minnesota, Northwestern 5, Michigan 4, Maryland 3, Ohio State 3. No playoffs for them, I guess. Penn State 2, them as well. Washington 2, Illinois 1, Michigan State retaining everybody. Jonathan Smith, the former Oregon State quarterback and head coach, retaining everybody. Oregon 0, number 1 in the country, undefeated. That helps. Rutgers 0. I find that interesting.